The Squid and Ultimate Elite Fan Show. I'm Mike Wilson, the Ultimate Elite fan. Joining me as always, my winger Ricky Squid Vibe. Squid, the crippling pain felt by Leaf Nation a few months ago, followed by the nasty tweets, comments, social media GMs, all take a back seat to opening night, instead replaced by the world-renowned cliche, just maybe this is the year.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, every new year brings optimism, and everybody at the beginning of the year, everybody's even. And the Maple Leafs have a lot of really good hockey players, so they're obviously looking at it and going, "This could be our year."
Yeah, I always get that. Everybody says that. I mean, even last place teams in baseball say that. The Baltimore Orioles will say that next year going into training camp. So
Yeah.
now, as a player, without stating the obvious, was this the favorite game of the season for you?
I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, the fact that you're your home opener, and you had what were they, the 48 Highlander
Islanders, 48 Islanders. Yeah.
pipe band was out there for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and it was a big, it was a big show, and it was a big night. It was like the start of the season, and again, like I said, the optimism is really high. Everybody's pumped up, and fans are pumped up, and it was pretty exciting. It was a pretty exciting night.
So take us through how you prepared for opening night. You'd come off a few weeks of back-to-back two-a-day, intense inter-squad games, a few preseason matches, the anxiety of who will or who won't make the team, maybe a new coach, possible new role for you as a player. How did you compress all that to get ready for real?
Well, first of all, almost every year we had a new coach. um, I don't know if I tackled it any differently than I did any other game, except for the fact that you're for the most part we were coming off disappointing years a year before, and it was kind of like, okay, we added a few different players that I think were gonna really gonna help us, and again, like we said at the beginning, like everybody is like, this could be our year, especially the division we were in. If you could get into the playoffs in that division, anybody can win that division, in the Chuck Norris division, or the
Yes.
Norris division as it was actually called. And so yeah, I mean, it was. I didn't do that much differently, though. I mean, it was like, I don't know. Back then, it was kind of like, you know what? Let's go out. Everybody do their job, and then we'll have success as a team. And I think that was the biggest thing. If everybody gives 100% and does their job, we got a better chance to win.
Well, let me as well. Our good friend Jimmy Devellano used to say in the Chuck Norris division, he only had to beat one team to get in the playoffs, and he usually targeted the Leafs. So that was his favorite target, as he used to always tease me about, and still does to this day.
Yeah.
Um, did the emotional anxiousness become a little easier to deal with the longer you were in the league, or were you always buzzing opening night? I think you just kind of answered it, but after a while, did you get to feel it was here we go again?
Mm, I think as you get on a little bit, I think you get into your fourth, fifth, sixth year. I think you take it a little bit. I don't know. I mean, you're still thinking the same way. You still go out and play the same way, but the anxiety and everything of opening night is not quite as magnified as it was when you were a rookie, for sure, and maybe even your second year or third. But I think after my rookie year, I don't think the anxiety wasn't there a whole lot for the remainder of my whole career. I just, you know what, I just had that ability to teach myself how to relax and how to focus on what my job was and what I needed to do, and not let anything around me distract me, including the fans, anybody. And on game day, I really worked at that from the time I came into the league. And I would say, probably by the time I was finished my first year, I was pretty good at it.
Well, so let's pick up on that. As a captain now, after some experience in the league, did you ever take a rookie or a new player aside to calm him down for the opener? I mean, after all, the sole purpose for either the rookie or the first year player was to make the team. So there must be a surge of emotion when they actually do that. But not all of a sudden they're in the spotlight as a new piece to the roster. It has to be a little bit overwhelming for them. And then again, at the end of the day, as you've mentioned already, it is just one game. There's a lot more, but still.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big night. Though. I mean, I'm not going to try and belittle it and say it doesn't mean anything because it does. And
Yeah.
if you're a young player, yeah, and I saw players in our room. I didn't really take them aside, and or have lunch with them or something. But in the room before the game, stand up and just say, hey, guys, like, relax out there. This isn't, the last game of the year. It's the first game of the year. And yes, it's like every other game, and it's a big night for everybody. But just relax and try and breathe and get into the game and just, again, do your job. Whatever you do best, go out and do that 100%, and we'll be okay.
So how about the coaches? Now, as players, you would sense with you, as you said, you almost had a new coach every year. How are they opening night? Did you ever notice the nervousness of a coach? And maybe inform the listeners, maybe the best coach you had who dealt with opening night. That'd be a tough question.
That's a tough one, Mike.
There's a lot of them.
That's a real tough one because not many of them took it very well. But I don't know. They were all pretty nervous, I think, opening night. I mean, and like I said, for the most part, I probably, oh gosh, I don't know, probably 9 or 10 out of my 13 years in the league, I was starting off the year with a new coach. And, so they want to get off on the right foot with a new organization where they just, got hired and everything. I think the coaches were more nervous than the players were because once you got on the ice, all that stuff kind of went away. I mean,
Exactly.
You go out and you have a shift, you get hit or you hit someone or, get a shot on goal, and then all of a sudden it's just another hockey game and you're not even thinking about opening night.
Well, we've spent the last few weeks analyzing the club. What's your thought on the finished product starting this evening?
You know what? I think it's pretty good, Mike. I'm not worried about the forwards one bit.
No.
Not one bit. I'm a little bit concerned about the defense and how is the goaltending that I think they're going to be basically a tandem. And, how's that going to play out? And, that's the only thing I think I'm a little bit nervous about and that I'll be watching maybe a little bit closer because, and yes, Matthews isn't playing. Makheyev's out for 8 weeks. That doesn't help the start of the season, really. But at the same time, they're going to be fine up front.
Well, as of this minute, we've been brought up to date. We've got, word that it looks like Marner is going to play. But again, if anything develops before the last one, he was flying around this morning at practice, apparently. So he starts with John Tavares and Nick Ritchie tonight. Kerfoot with Bunting and Nylander. David Kemp with Engvall and Cachet. And the guy who's getting a Wally Pipp moment, Mike Amadeo, because of the departure, the injury to the departure of Adam Brooks to Montreal, which is, I think, going to hurt us a little bit. And also the injury to Mikheyev. He centers Jason Spezza with lots of experience and Wayne Simmons. So, up front, as you said, it looks pretty solid. The deep pairing, it's a chance now for Ramis Sandin, Travis Dermott to step up. They have to take their games to the next level. And we're going to get an indication pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. No, I mean, you got 2 young, pretty talented defensemen in those 2 guys. But, here's a guy, Sandin, I think, he's got a little bit more probably finish to him as far as, his skill level than Dermott. But
Yep.
I think it's time Dermott has to step up because he's been in the league for a while now. This is his moment to grab a hold of a job on their defense and keep it. Otherwise, if he doesn't show up and start playing the way he's capable of playing, then, who knows? Somebody else might step in and take that job away from him.
You're right. And, Jack Campbell gets the barrel tonight. He can, another guy, speaking of which, setting the tone, he can set the tone pretty quickly for himself beginning in about 45 minutes from now.
Yeah. And again, I think their goaltending is good. Is it great? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's good. And Campbell, hopefully he starts not where he left off at the end of the series against Montreal, but the way he was playing when he won that, third or 12 or something in a row
11.
without 11 or something. And he played extremely well, and he played pretty good in the playoffs too. It's not like he got blown out or anything. So if he starts out that way, this team, has a real good chance of getting off to a real good start, which I think is imperative. Really, I really do, especially in the division that they're in. I mean, you can't start out the season and go, 5-10 or 5-12 or something like that, because now you're behind in the division a little bit. Although Tampa lost their opener, so. But I think, did I see that they're 0-7 in their home openers? I think in the last 7 years or something. Tampa,
Oh, I didn't. I
or
didn't
was
know
I?
that. Oh,
I
well.
did. I thought I read that somewhere. I'm not sure, but I mean, they did lose their opener last night to Pittsburgh. So we'll see what happens. I mean, anything's possible. It's a new year. Again, the optimism and everything is really, really high right now with every single team. And Toronto's no different. They got a good hockey team. Just a matter of putting it all together now.
Well, there's proof in the pudding for Tampa. Losing the first one, as long as you win the last one, that's all that really counts, isn't it? And they've done that the last 2 years. So I would suggest the
Yeah,
formula's working pretty well. Don't mix with it if it's working, and it seems to be working in their favor so far. Um, Speaking of which,
yeah.
Jack Campbell, it's not going to be from support of his teammates and the love he's had his teammates for. I mean, you've watched the All or Nothing document, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What was your impression of that?
Um, I'll be honest with you. I was surprised they went as deep as they did. To put it out there, the way they do things, and the coaches meeting and talking about players and stuff like that. I was genuinely surprised that they went that deep into the locker room and the coach's office and the general manager's office. But at the same time, I thought it was really good the way they handled most of the stuff. I mean, they were up front with
Yeah.
players. You saw with VC, Kyle calling them in and, just being up front with them, like, hey, we're going to put you on waivers at noon. And then, show up at practice unless otherwise told, and I'll let you know what happens. I thought it was great, but I like the fact that Sheldon was talking to the players on the ice a lot, telling them what he thought they needed to do in order to pick up their game. VC was one of those guys on
Yes.
a couple of occasions before he was put on waivers. So, yeah, I enjoyed that. I really did. And then the trade for Foligno and everything and how that went down. And, it's not very often you see those types of things. That's
Yeah.
why I was surprised that they went that, allowed that to air and everybody to see how they did things behind the scenes. I was surprised.
Well, I thought it was excellent myself. It was interesting how the
Yeah.
body language of both Sheldon Keefe and Cal Dubas, in particular, who turned out to be the two stars of the show, while positive, was somewhat guarded, almost as if to say, yeah, we're racking up wins, but it isn't this easy. Not sure how to prepare for the worst, but they seem to be putting it out there all the time to the players. So they were on top of it. But in fairness, as you know, Squid,
Mhm.
how do you prepare for the worst when you're winning?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you're dominating the division they were in last year for pretty much the entire season and running away with the division, and you're going to have home ice. So I mean, well, they did address it at the deadline when they brought in Foligno.
That's right.
Unfortunately, he
That's right.
gets hurt a couple of times. I mean, those things happen. Again, I think we've talked about this many times about winning a Stanley Cup. And a lot of things got to happen. I mean, you got to play well, obviously. You got to get good goaltending, and you got to stay healthy. And if you don't get all three of those things, you're in trouble. And, that happened to them last year. They had some key guys, Foligno, Tavares,
Muzzin.
Muzzin. I mean, there were some guys out of the lineup in the playoffs. And you don't win if you got three key guys that are out of your lineup. I mean, the chances of you advancing past the round and maybe getting by another round is slim to none, really.
Well, it all starts, well, probably in, as I said, 45 minutes, 40 minutes from now, we'll be seeing, I guess the band will be on the ice and doing
Yeah.
their thing. Um,
Well, I bet you the puck doesn't drop until 7.
30,
Let me think. 7:40. That's my guess.
7:40. Okay, you're probably
Yeah.
close. We got an hour and 15 minutes, looks like. Hour and 20 minutes. Well, the inspirational quote this, I know this is your favorite moment of the whole show every week. I'm going to tell you, Squid, though, it's
Mhm.
a little secret. It's not based off the new Netflix series, Using Your Name, without any royalties to you, by the way. None floating your way with this new Squid Games.
By the way, I watched. By the way, I watched the whole thing too.
And it's good. It's worth watching. You got to be
Yeah, it
unbiased about
is.
this. You can't be biased with the name.
No, it's not bad. There's moments where you kind of it gets a little bit stale, but then something happens and then it gets good again, and then but the ending just kind of tells me that there's going to be more episodes. There's no question, or seasons, whatever way you look at it. But the way it ended, I'm pretty sure there's going to be more to come.
Well, there you go, folks. There's an endorsement for Squid Games from Squid himself with no royalties involved. He threw that one right out there. I'm going to have to take you up on that and have a look at this one myself. So, but where we want to go with this is we want to give the whole Maple Leaf organization an uplifting quote they can use, as we just mentioned now, about an hour and 18 minutes from now. So we'll see how it all goes. And they can even use it right now because we know they're all watching. They want to get their inspiration before they hit the ice and as they're listening to the band and the 48th Islanders. So here it is. So you're all set? It's not the team.
I'm ready.
You ready? Oh, here we go. It's not the team with
Yeah.
the best players that win. It's the players with the best team that wins.
I like that.
Yes.
I really do. I mean, well, having good players
Kind of
is,
helps.
it kind of helps, yeah. But I mean, if you can have good players and put together a good team, you're right. I mean, a team, I mean, how many times over the years, Mike, have we seen a team that was not supposed to win? The Philadelphia Flyers is one of them, like back in the Broad Street Bullies. I mean, but if you got a good team and you stick together, you can make things happen. You're right. That's a good quote. I like that.
Well, we're going to start. And one more thing here before we go. I just want to give myself one little shameless self plug. Tomorrow night, for the Leafs on the road playing in Ottawa, I'll be at the Duchess of Markham, which is in Markham, of course. You can figure that one out, obviously. Crashing the Molson viewing party featuring Darcy Tucker. Molson's, of course, does it right with great prizes, game tickets, hats, jerseys, shirts, etc. Darcy mingling with the fans, and I'll have copies of my book there. You guys can come the ultimate road trip if you'd like to come up and help me out. And because one of us in this podcast or our show here has to get some royalties at some point. Me aside, promises to be a fun night. Great to watch a game with fellow fans. Food is good. The beer is great. The cheers-like atmosphere from the staff at the Duchess. What more can you ask for? That's Duchess tomorrow night, starting anytime after 5 p.m., and they are very socially responsible. Now, Squid, you've been a part of these in the past. Molson does a pretty good job with these, I would say, all joking aside.
They do a great job teaming up with MLSE, and they have them at different pubs and bars and Wild Wings and places like that. And I mean, it's great. You meet a lot of the diehard Leaf fans and sign a bunch of autographs, give out some prizes, and all in all, it's a really good, fun night. And I always enjoyed doing them because I got to meet some people that I never met before, and obviously fans of the Maple Leafs and that sort of thing. Yeah, it's a great night. Enjoy. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Well, guys, come out tomorrow night. If you're listening, come out and join us at the Duchess of Markham. It should be a fun night. And Darcy is a great guy, and he's always full of lots of stories and full of good laughter. So it's definitely worth it. But again, so that's our show for this week. Same time next week, same place. Don't forget to tune into this week's Squid and Ultimate Leaf Fan podcast. Drops Friday at 6 p.m. featuring Jim Turkowitz, longtime Toronto Toro, Birmingham Bull, and famously remembered as the key figure in the controversial 1973 Game 7 OHL Finals. Squid's laughing because we're giving it to Jimmy the other day and we were recording this. The OHL Final between Peterborough and the Marlboros that resulted in a penalty shot. We won't spoil the surprise if you don't know it to come and listen what happened. Pauline Bordelot got a penalty shot, advanced the Marlies to the Memorial Cup, which they end up winning. So tune into that one Friday at 6 o'clock. He's a really good guy, and it's a pretty good story. And he was a pretty good hockey player who played with Squid in the WHA for 5 years. Squid, you played 1 year, but he played 5 years in the league. So good guy. So I hope everyone enjoys the game tonight. Please get us off to a good start the next couple nights. Enjoy yourself, and guys, we'll talk to you next week.